Hi, good afternoon. My name is Lizette. I am an occupational therapist, and this afternoon I wanted to spend a couple minutes talking to you guys about different kind of cues or different kind of prompts that you can use with your loved ones who have dementia. And so just to have some fun and to see if it would work, I decided this afternoon to take a couple minutes and actually try to do this with my chickens. They're kind of fun, and they're kind of fun to do this with, but it's not necessarily always a success, so we'll just have to play it by ear. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to reach into my fridge real quick, because I use what we call chicken berries, which are actually just blueberries. We use blueberries or chicken berries to actually treat our chickens. And so this afternoon I thought I would actually just use my chickens and talk about different types of prompts or different types of verbal cues. So there are three types of cues. There are three types of cues you can use with your loved ones, and each one can be used in combination with other types of cues. But for fun, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what each one is, and then I'm gonna try to demonstrate them with my chickens. So the first one is a verbal cue. So a verbal cue is literally just that. It is telling somebody to do something. Okay, so we would say, Mom, I want you to go to the bathroom. That would be a verbal cue. Okay, the second type of a cue, or second type of a prompt, if I can get the light out from behind me, is a physical cue, or a touching cue, or a physical prompt. So that's when we think about grandma or grandpa standing up off of a couch or off of a chair, and they get about 3/4 of the way up, and they are having trouble getting all the way to standing. And you put your hand out and you reach to them and you touch their back. You kind of just guide them up. That is a physical cue, or a prompting cue, or a physical prompt. So that's the second one. So the first one is a verbal cue. The second one is second type can be a physical cue, and the third type of cue is known as a tactile cue. A visual cue. So I dropped my blueberry, but that's okay. We'll get to it later. Is a visual cue. A verbal cue, a visual cue, and a physical cue. Okay, so we talked about we talked about verbal. Now we're going to talk about a visual cue, and that's pointing where we want somebody to go. So, for example, when you say to somebody, let's go to the bathroom, and you point down the hallway to where the bathroom is, that is a visual cue. So this afternoon, we're going to actually demonstrate all three of these using my chickens. So here we go. The first one is going to be a verbal cue. These chickens will call when I come them. Oops, if I can get my door unlocked. Okay. Hooners! Hooners! And they were kind of close this afternoon, so they didn't come running like they usually do. So that is a verbal cue. All right, so the second type of a cue is a visual cue. So this one, let's see if we can get them to play along. Can you see them going for my easel? Oops. That's a visual cue. They get to watch at what they're doing. Hooned! Hooned! Ow! Hooned, hooned! Let's watch. Synchronized chicken. Synchronized chicken. Watch the visual cue. All right. And then the third type of cue, if you guys can see, this is actually a tactile cue. I'll see if I can catch one of them. Oh. And that is a tactile cue. Usually if I have both hands, I can pick up my chickens, but not this afternoon. They're not wanting to do that this afternoon. So just a quick little recap. We have three types of cues. They can be used in conjunction with one another. We can point to something and say, let's go to the bathroom, or let's go here, and that would be a visual cue, a verbal cue and a visual cue by saying let's go and pointing. All right. Or we can do a verbal cue with a tactile cue where you have your hand on somebody's back and say let's stand up together, where you're telling them what to do and then you're giving them a tactile cue along with that. What I wanted to talk about a little bit more this afternoon is be cautious or be slow with giving cues, because people who have trouble with their thinking oftentimes will take about 30 seconds, if not longer, to process information. So if we're giving them multiple cues quickly after one another, it can overwhelm their brain, and it could take them up to 30 seconds to process what you had said at the beginning. So it may go something like this: Mom, let's stand up out of the chair. And you say right after that, so we can go to the bathroom, and you keep talking about something else with someone else. And it takes her 30 seconds to process, and she hasn't stood up out of the chair, and then we think that they can't stand up out of the chair. So when you're working with people who have trouble, your loved one who is having trouble with their thinking, and you want to give them cues or prompts, try to slow down and only do one at a time, especially in the later stages of dementia when it can really honestly take people 30 seconds. I've even waited on patients up to a minute to respond to the first cue that I gave them, which was let's stand up. So some strategies you can try is just slow it down, give one cue at a time. If a verbal cue doesn't work, you can add a physical cue to it. If a verbal and a physical cue don't work, you can add a visual cue, like point to something and say, let's go there. So the best advice I have is just sometimes less is better. So slow it down and give them time to process, and see if that helps them follow directions a little bit easier for you when you're trying to get them to do something. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed my chickens. I hope you could actually see my chickens. But anyway, it's Saturday. It is August the 22nd, and it is a wonderful day in South Carolina. So yet again, my name is Lizette, and I hope to speak with you again soon. Thank you for watching. Give me feedback and let me know if you watched it on the live or if you watched it on the replay. And just let me know what you think, and if there are other things you want me to kind of talk about, please let me know. I'd be happy to do that. And have a great afternoon. Thanks. Bye.